Welcome Ujjvala Prabhu to our discussion on Sri Gopala Tapani Upanishad. I'm very fortunate that I've been invited by you to speak something and discuss something with you on this wonderful Upanishad, which is such a great part of our tradition. And I hope that by discussing this Upanishad with you, my own understanding will tremendously increase. And it's very nice to have a person who's very dedicated to Sanskrit learning as your good self.
I can say the same, and I'm sure mine will increase dramatically by reading with you, Prabhu. So
thank you, Prabhu. And our Shishta Parampara is to begin with Mangalacharan. So we will perform Mangalacharan, and I will speak the verses. You can repeat in your mind, and then we will begin with the Upanishad. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande Hare Hare. So Prabhu, I am sharing my screen with you, and you will be having the Gopala Tapani Upanishad in front of you. Now, the Gopala Tapani Upanishad is divided into two sections, Purva Vibhag and Uttar Vibhag. So, which is the first section and the second section. And today we are beginning with the Purva Vibhaga. But before we begin speaking something on Gopala Tapani Upanishad, I would also like to begin by saying something about what Upanishads are. So I'm sure, Prabhu, you must be aware that all varieties of Shastra are divided into two main categories. First is known as Shruti and another is known as Smriti. So by Shruti, can you tell me, Prabhu, what understanding do we have of Shruti?
Well, I know the traditional understanding is the four Vedas, which includes the Upanishads, the Aranyakas, these things. Right. And I heard Jiva Goswami also kind of makes a good argument to lump the Puranas in there as well.
Right.
From Brihadaranyaka. So,
right. So Vedas, Aranyakas, Upanishads, etc. So these are known as Vedas. And the second is Smriti. So what understanding, Prabhu, do we have of Smriti?
generally the understanding is that Smriti means like the Pancharatra and the Puranas, the Mahabharata, these things.
Pancharatra,
Mahabharata, like Manu Smriti, these types of texts, Dharma
Right.
Shastras.
Right. So this categorization is generally accepted by almost all adherents of Vedic culture. Now, the Gopala-tāpanī Upanishad belongs to the first category, that is Shruti. And Shruti is technically categorized mainly into two divisions. First is known as mantra, second is known as Brahmana. So these are the two main divisions of all Shrutis. Either a Shruti will consist of a mantra, or either it will be a Brahmana. A Brahmana is a guide for Grihasthas on how to carry out Vedic sacrifices. That is Brahmana. So how to do it, how to chant the verses, how to chant the hymns, how to organize the yajna. So everything is given in Brahmana literature. And what exact hymns to chant, that is given in mantra literature. So one is known as mantra bhag and second is Brahman bhag. These are the two main categorizations. And there is also, some people say that Aranyaka is another part. So mantra, Brahmana and Aranyaka. But broadly, these are the two categories. Now, mantra is basically a hymn from one of the Vedas. And every mantra in the Veda is supposed to have a Viniyoga. Viniyoga means it has to have an Vishishta Niyoga, which means it has to have a specific application in a specific area of life. So that is Viniyoga. For example, when a Brahmana is taking a bath, so there is a mantra in the Riga Veda, Apohishtha. Apohishtha, the mantra begins with Apohi. And this is a mantra from the Rig Veda. And this is the prayer to the deity Varuna, who is the presiding deity of the waters, to help the person who is chanting the hymn to purify himself externally and internally. So this hymn is given in the Rig Veda. So we can say that Apohishtha, its Viniyoga, is in cleansing, is in the activity of cleansing. Similarly, there is the Brahma Gayatri. So the Viniyoga of Brahma Gayatri is in Japa. So all mantras are supposed to have some Viniyoga. But when it comes to the Upanishad sections, so beginning with Isha Upanishad, none of the mantras are having any Viniyoga in any Nitya or Naimittika Vedic activities. So this is what indicates that the Upanishads are for those individuals whose adhikar is different from the adhikar of the person performing Vedic rituals.
So
Because,
could we consider this the difference between Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa then? That then Purva Mimamsa is like karmic activities, Nitya Naimittika activities, and studying the Vedas for that. And then Uttara Mimamsa means when you cross over there and then you're focusing on the Upanishads?
Yeah, so Purva Mimamsa is investigation in primarily into the purpose of the four Vedas. And the conclusion of Purva Mimamsa is to perform Vedic karma and to perform yajna. And what is the purpose? The purpose is to generate punya. or dharma. And this term dharma or punya, it cannot be, exactly explained in any other language. So what is dharma? What is punya? Dharma is, you can say, a type of sukriti which is generated out of performing Vedic karma according to your varna and ashram. That is what is dharma. Now, Uttar Mimamsa is all about promoting moksha. And moksha means you have to, beyond, this is much beyond dharma. So that is the difference between Purva and Uttar Mimamsa. And in Uttar Mimamsa, the stress is more on giving up the karma aspect of Vedas and focusing on the Gyan aspect of the Vedas, which is the Upanishads, etc. So clearly the adhikar is different, and therefore they are known as Vedanta, Vedasya Anta, which means it is situated, it is to be studied at the very end of one's Vedic adhikar. So this is where Upanishads come into the picture. So all Upanishads beginning with Isha Upanishad are for those who are having a higher adhikar as compared to the Brahmana, who is mantra tantra visharada, who is completely expert in all the Vedic mantras and rituals. But still, the position of a Gyani is much more beyond that, much more above him. And similarly, there are 10 main Upanishads: Isha, Kena, Katha, Mundaka, Mandukya, Prashna, Aitareya, Taitareya, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka. These are the Upanishads. So, but beyond 10 Upanishads also, there are many other Upanishads. And one of the principal Upanishads of the Atharva Veda is Shri Gopala Tapani Upanishad. Now, this Gopala Tapani Upanishad, because many Upanishads do not have what we say a parampara of recitation or a parampara in which they were received. There are many Upanishads which just suddenly cropped up out of nowhere. And those Upanishads are often looked upon with suspicion because some scholars may say that they are recent fabrications. But the Gopala Tapani Upanishad is not like that. The Gopala Tapani Upanishad, and we will see in the commentary by Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur, that even during his time there is a parampara amongst the Brahmanas of the western part of India. He would specifically say Gurjaradi Desha. Gurjar is Gujarat, which is on the western side of India. So Gurjaradi Desha. So he specifically says that in the western part of India there is a parampara amongst the Brahmanas to recite this Upanishad. So it is, this is not an obscure Upanishad which we are discussing. Its tradition is well established amongst all the Vaishnava Sampradayas. And then there was also a scholar from the Advaita Sampradaya whose name was Upanishad Brahma Yogi, and who commented upon all 108 Upanishads. But he commented from an Advaita point of view, but he also has commented upon Gopala Tapani Upanishad. Today we are going to see the commentary of Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur, and he will begin with the first verse of the Upanishad. So that first verse is in front of you, and I'll try to sing the verse, and then you kindly repeat the verse after me. Om Namah Satchidananda Rupaya
Satchidananda Rupaya
Krishnaya Klishta Karine
Krishnaya Klishtakarine
Namo Vedanta Vedyaya
Namo Vedanta Vedyaya
Gurave Buddhi Sakshine.
Gurave Buddhi Sakshine.
So, as you can see, the Upanishad is beginning with Pranava. Oh. And it is beginning with Namaha. Namaha is obeisances to. Namaha is basically an avyaya, and Om is actually a nipat. So a particle avyaya. There is a difference in Sanskrit between a nipat and avyaya, which is mentioned in Panini Sutra. Nipat ekaj anang. This is the sutra. So nipat is basically an avyaya which is ek ach. So you know what is ach? Ach is composed of, ach means all the swaras, all the vowels.
Yeah.
So all single voweled avyayas are categorized as nipat. So u or a, all these, sometimes you see in the Upanishads u. So u is basically nipat. So similarly, Om and Nama. Then the Upanishad begins by saying Sat, Chit, Ananda, Rupaya. So you already know how to translate this. So can you please tell me how to translate Sat, Chit, Ananda, Rupaya?
Satchidananda Rupaya, to the one whose form is Sat, or eternality, Chit, consciousness, and Ananda, bliss.
So let's do an Anvay here. Anvay. So we should be able to form a meaningful sentence now. So what should we place first in the Anvay?
I guess you could put Rupam first. Or you could put Sat.
No, I'm saying if you want to form a logical sentence, how would you begin the translation?
In English or in Sanskrit?
Right, in English.
In English, I would say one whose form.
Okay, but shouldn't we begin with obeisances too?
Or
do you want to go?
Namaha, okay. With Namaha, I see. I was thinking just the word, like doing a Vigraha Vakya of Satchidananda Rupaya. Obeisances to the one whose form.
Okay, the one
whose form is eternal. Is the
personification?
Yeah, that word is the personification.
Okay.
Eternality, consciousness, and bliss. Would you say?
Yeah, consciousness, bliss. Okay. So then we'll put a semicolon here because we have other adjectives. But the second term is not an adjective. The second term is the actual noun, which is Krishnaya.
Yeah.
So why don't we put Krishnaya first? Because obeisance is unto Krishna. Then we will describe all the qualities. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
So Krishnaya. So obeisances unto Krishna. Whose very form is the personification of eternality, consciousness, and bliss.
When we break this Satchidananda Rupaya, you would take this as like a Karmadarya, right? And literally we would say like Satchidananda Eva Rupam.
Yes. Satchidananda Eva Rupam, or
his very form is Satchidananda.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we have Aklishta Karini. Now, so in the commentary, Aklishta Karini will be explained as he who removes all kleshas for his devotees. or he who removes all kleshas, even for the demons. So, you know, so we will say, you know, Aklishta Karini, who causes the removal of all distresses. Okay. Then what is the next term that we should take? The next term is Vedanta Vidyaya. Now, can you try to translate Vedanta Vidyaya?
One who should be known through Vedanta.
Yes. So the who is the object of who is the object to be known through all through Vedanta. Okay. Then next is Guru.
Would we take it as a Shashtitat Purush? Vedanta Vedya, or Vedantat Vedya, or Vedantain Vedya? What type of?
So we will, I think, you know, we can take it as Tritiya. So, you know, take Vedanta, because Vedanta is an instrument to attain Vedaischa Sarvair. Ahameva Vedyo. So
Vedaihi, yeah, makes sense.
So I think the best thing is to take it as a Tritiya.
Okay.
We will see in the commentary how there could be other ways of breaking it also. I don't remember. But Gurave is, you know, who is
the Guru.
Guru. And next is Buddhi Sakshine. And how do you think we should?
I guess
Buddhi Sakshi. So who is the witness of the intelligence?
Of the intelligence, yeah. That's what I was thinking. Just wondering what exactly it means, but that'll come in the commentary.
Yeah. So now we have a sentence. So Prabhu, can you read just the translation sequence step by step and see if the sentence is proper?
Obeisances unto Krishna, whose very form is the personification of eternality, consciousness, and bliss, who causes the removal of all distresses, who is the object to be known through Vedanta, who is the Guru, and who is the witness of the intelligence.
So who is the witness? Now we have smoothened out all the rough edges. This is our Anvay. Sounds good. All the terms have been included in the Anvay. Okay. Now we can begin with the Vaishvanāthi Vivriti. So this is Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Krita Shri Gopala Tapani Vivriti. So this is the Vivriti, or small, you know, notes on Shri Gopāla-tāpanī Upanishad by Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur. Now, the first verse is Mangalacharan, and you'll have to help me in decoding the Mangalacharan verse. So let's try, because Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur sometimes gives these esoteric verses which have some, you know, dual meanings in them. So let's chant the verse. So please repeat after me. Murta Brahma Swarupartha.
Murta Brahma Swarupartha.
Varshinim Bhakta Harshinim.
Varshinim Bhakta Harshinim.
Gopala-tāpanī Naumi.
Gopala-tāpanī Naumi.
Śrīmad Gopala-tāpanī.
Śrīmad Gopala-tāpanī.
So, see, Upanishad is Striling. The entire term Upanishad is Striling. It is feminine in gender. So, all Upanishads are feminine in gender. Gita Su Upanishad Su. You might have heard that.
Yes, yes.
Upanishad Su, that automatically indicates that the term Upanishad, you know, is feminine in gender. So Gopala-tāpanī is also feminine in gender. The term Gopala-tāpanī is also feminine in gender. So let's try to translate, Prabhu. How would you, what parts of the verse are you able to understand?
Naumi I worship.
Okay, so Naumi,
Gopala,
just a minute.
I worship.
Now
Sorry.
I worship. Okay.
Gopala-tāpanī. So the well, I guess Śrīmad Gopala-tāpanī would be the name, right?
Right. So here is the, the
The first.
tricky part of the Mangala Charan verse. I think since it's a tricky part, we'll handle it later.
Okay.
But we can translate all the other terms which are very clearly understood. So,
Okay.
so which
Bhakta
term?
Harshinim brings joy to the bhaktas.
Bhakta Harshinim. Okay. Who brings joy to the devotees. Okay.
And then we have the big compound Murta Brahma Swarupartha Varshinim.
Swarupa Artha Varshinim. Okay.
So Varshini, which is like showers, or the showering, the meaning.
Who is the showerer of the meaning?
Of the essence or the nature, Swarupa of Brahman, Brahma. And I don't know what Murta means.
Personified Brahma. Murta Brahma.
Murta.
So I think in English we have to go in the reverse order. She who is the showerer of the meaning of the Swarupa of Krishna, who is the personified Brahman.
Okay.
So
the Murta is like one who like Murti, huh? Same.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So Murta Brahma.
The person Brahma.
Right.
Brahman.
Person.
Okay.
But when we say Murta Brahma, then does it mean there is also an Amurta Brahma? That question arises. So there is an Amurta Brahma, but that Amurta Brahma is its existence is because of the Murta Brahma. Brahmano hi pratisthaham. In the Gita it is said that I am the pratishtha, I am the foundation of the Amurta Brahma. So the Murta Brahma is the foundation of the Amurta Brahma. That is the Vaishnava philosophy. So Murta Brahma, Swarupa Artha Varshinim, who is the showerer of the meaning of the Swarupa of Krishna, the person, the origin, personified Brahman. Okay. So this is done. Now I tried to, because there is no commentary on the other terms and not even on this Mangalacharan verse, there is no commentary. So I tried to think about it as to what the verse is. Why is he repeating Gopala-tāpanī, Naumi Śrīmad Gopala-tāpanī? But before I say something, would you like to try to,
I don't know. It's the Gopala-tāpanī is the Gopala-tāpanī. Tapani.
Obeisances to Gopala-tāpanī, who is Gopala-tāpanī.
Yeah. And Tapani, is this coming from Tap Dhatu? Tap usually means to burn, huh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what to mean. It's causative. I know that because Tapani.
Right.
But
so
I don't understand the.
So let's play on this word. This is the name of our Upanishad, Śrīmad Gopāla-tāpanī. Okay. So we will put this term here. This much is done. Okay. And let's remove the hyphen. Okay. And now Gopala-tāpanī he's played so cleverly because it is Gopāla-tā plus Apanim. Apanim basically means Prapanim.
Oh, I see. Apanim, Prapanim.
Because what is Apanim? What is Prapanim? You just add a pra, upasarg, pra prefix to Apani.
Yeah.
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 So it becomes Apanim Prapani. So she who makes one attain Gopalata or cowherdness. So that is Gopala-tāpanī Naumi Śrīmad Gopala-tāpanī.
Gopala-tāpanī. Wow. Gopala-tāpanī.
So I hope you have understood this, Shlesha. So
Wow.
Apani means she who makes one attain. Gopalata is cowherdness. So she who makes, or she who makes one an eternal associate of Krishna.
Gopala-tāpanī Naumi Śrīmad Gopala-tāpanī.
Right.
That's amazing.
So this was the Shlesh. This was the breakdown of Gopala-tāpanī. So I hope this verse is very nice, and I thought about it a lot yesterday. Then I understood why he's repeating the terms. Okay, now here is our paragraph. So he begins with Gurjaradi Desha Prasiddha Parashar Gotra Brahmana Sampradaya Prapta Atharva Vedasya Pippalad Shakha Patita Shri Gopala-tāpanī Akhya Shruti. So can you try to translate that, Prabhu? Should be very easy.
Shruti, known as Shri Gopala-tāpanī, Shri Gopala-tāpanyākhya, which is patita, means it's read or studied in the Pippalada Shaka.
It is taught. Patita.
Taught, I see. Taught in the Pippalada Shaka, which is a branch from Pippalada. It is of the Atharva Veda, which is attained in the Parashara Gotra, which is it's a Brahmana Sampradaya of the Parashara Gotra, which is well known in the land of Gurjaradi Desha. Gurjaradi Desha, Prasiddha.
So he's first establishing that the Upanishad is well established. It's not an obscure Upanishad that he's commenting upon. Because Upanishads are categorized into many divisions. Some are Yoga Upanishads, some are Samanya Upanishads, some are Jnana Upanishads, some are Sannyas Upanishads, some are Vaishnava Upanishads. So this is basically a Vaishnava Upanishad, but it has a history of being recited and taught in the Parashar Gotra Brahman Sampradaya. Gurjar Adi Desh. Gurjar is Gujarat, Adi is etc. So other places. Okay, so this is the Gopala-tāpanī Shruti. Okay. Shri Krishna Swarupa Rupa Leela Karunya Adikam Pratipadayanti with the Dirgha E. So how do we translate? How do we try to translate this?
Pratipadayanti is like this is a present participle, so it's like
Right.
it's bringing about or it's making.
Now it's elaborating or it's delineating.
Yeah,
it's delineating what
delineating.
as she delineates So while she is delineating the
Krishna Swarupa Rupa Leela Karunyadikam. So Sri Krishna's form, well, his nature, his form, his pastimes, and his mercy,
etc.
Adikam.
So the entire Shruti will be explaining these things: his Swarupa, his Rupa, his Leela, his Karunya, his mercy, Adikam, etc. But as she is explaining this, because Pratipadayanti is it is Shatru Pratyay, and Shatru Pratyay is for present tense, and present tense means present tense which is currently going on.
Yeah.
So this means that as she is explaining all these things, as she is delineating all these things, tam namaskaroti. So she pays obeisances to him as she is, about to begin all these explanations. And at namaskaroti, she offers obeisances to him through which verse?
Satchid Ananda Rupaya. So that's the meaning of Sat in Satchid Ananda Rupaya.
Yeah. So this term Sat iti. So by saying Sat, he is indicating that he is now about to begin the explanation of the Shruti, the verse which we sang, Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine.
So this,
but before that, yes, Prabhu.
This is Sri Krishna Swarupa Rupa Leela Karunyadikam. Is this a Bahuvrihi because we have Ka here? And is that going Tam and then Sat? So
Right.
He is that Sri Krishna who has the...
No, Shri Krishnasya, and then all others are Dvandva.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
Swarupascha, Rupascha, Leela-cha, Karunya-cha, Adi-cha. So this is, so Shri Krishnasya.
Okay.
So and in Tatpurush, what happens is it is Uttar Pradhan, Uttar Purush Pradhan. So which means, what is more important, what is to be understood is Swarupa, Rupa, Leela, Karunya, Adikam.
Yeah.
So Pratipadayanti, as she is delineating tam namaskaroti, she offers obeisances to him by the verse Satchidananda iti.
I see.
Now, who is Krishna? If a question is asked, we have not heard of Krishna. So we have heard of so many other deities in the Vedic literature, Varuna and Rudra, Indra. So then Śrīla Viśvanātha Chakravartī Thakur points out that Krishna has been mentioned in Vedic literature. So Krishnaya Devaki Nandanaya iti Sama Upanishadi. So actually this should be Devaki Putraya, because in the readings that are found today, it should be in Chandogya Upanishad. There is this phrase.
Sama Upanishad means in a Samasya Upanishad. And
in a Sama
Veda.
Yeah, which is it is Chandogya Upanishad. And you find the term Krishnaya Devaki Putraya. You find this reference. Okay, so he's first pointing out that Krishnaya Devaki Putraya, this phrase is in the Chandogya Upanishad. And then he says, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam iti Bhagavate cha Mahaprasiddhaya Krishnaya Namaha. So our original verse Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshini. So Namo Krishnaya, Namah Krishnaya. But who is Krishna? So you don't know who is Krishna? Krishnaya Devaki Putraya, Chandogya Upanishad, and Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Shri Bhagavate Mahaprasiddhaya Shri Krishnaya Namah. So this is the purpose of making these statements. See, one thing is to literally translate the commentary, and another thing is to understand Acharya Abhipraya. As when the Acharya switches from one statement to another, what was the Abhipraya? What was the intention? behind switching from one statement to another statement. So many times when we read the translations of commentaries in a book, we are not told what is the reason for switching from one statement to another statement.
And
I'm
sometimes
sure that
they're making a big jump. They're making
yes,
they expect us to be intelligent and make a
yes,
connection between two sentences. Yeah.
right. So this jump between two statements or the intention of the Acharya Abhipraya should be understood before we, before we say that yes, we understood the commentary. So moving ahead, then he says, Krishna Shabda Vyachakshanam Eva. So this is Vyachakshana plus Eva. Vyachakshana Eva. So Krishna Shabda Vyachakshana. So as she elaborates upon the term, which term? Krishna. So as she is elaborating upon the term Krishna, who is elaborating upon the term Krishna? The Upanishad herself, as she is, elaborating upon the term Krishna, while she is elaborating upon the term Krishna, Tat Swarupam Aha, she starts elaborating upon his Swarupa. Because to elaborate on Krishna means to elaborate upon his name, his form, his pastimes, etc. So as she is Vyachakshana Eva, as she is elaborating Vyachakshana on Krishna Shabda, on the term Krishna, Tat Swarupam, she ends up speaking about his Swarupa. So she here refers to whom?
Gopala Tapani.
Gopala
Gopala-tāpanī Upanishad.
Upanishad. So how does she elaborate upon his Swarupa, or how does she speak of his Swarupa? So Satchidananda Rupaya. Basically now he is breaking down the Samas Satchidananda Rupaya. So Satchidanandam Yad Brahma Tad Eva Swarupam Yasya Tasmai. So now can you translate this for us too?
Yes. One who's that Brahman, which is Satchit Ananda, that itself, whose Swarup is that itself. To him, I offer my obeisances. Namaha. Tasmai.
Right. So let's go in the reverse direction. Unto him whose constitutional position is to be that Brahman, which is Satchit Ananda. So usually what I do in English translations is I have usually found that if you go in the reverse direction, you'll be able to translate it.
With the big sentences as well, it's exactly like that. Anything I read is just, okay, let's turn it around. Read it the other way.
So this is what it is. So Satchidananda Rupaya. So basically Satchidananda is nothing. He translates Satchidananda as nothing but Brahma. So Satchidananda Rupaya basically ends up being Brahma Rupaya. And Rupa ends up being Swarupa. So basically Brahma Swarupaya. That is how he has translated Satchidananda Rupaya. So Brahma Tadeva Swarupam Yasya. So Brahma is whose essential nature. That is what he's trying to say. Now, where is it mentioned in Shastra that Krishna is Brahma? So you can't just make up a claim that Krishna is Brahma without backing it up from Shastra. So now, in order to justify the claim that, because it is he who said Brahma, it was not, the Shruti did not say Brahma. It was Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur who ended up saying that Satchidananda means, it refers to Brahma. And then what you're saying is basically Krishna is the Supreme Brahman. Now then you need to back it up with a claim from, or with a praman from the Vedic literature. And therefore he is going to say Iti Smritehi. So this verse is given in the Smritis. Now kindly Prabhu repeat after me. Krishna Shabdascha Sattartho
Krishna Shabdascha Sattartho
Anascha Swarupakaha
Anashchananda Swarupakaha
Tayoraikyam Param Brahma
Tayoraikyam Param Brahma
Krishna Ityabhidhiyate.
Krishna Ityabhidhiyate.
So basically what I feel is, although I typed it out correctly as it was given in the Upanishad, but I think there is a misreading or it was not typed out properly. So it should be Krishi Shabdascha. Krishi Shabdascha Sattartho Nascha Ananda Swarupaka. Because if we have Krishna Shabdascha Sattartho and then Nascha Ananda Swarupaka,
Yeah, I was
then
thinking
it will become Krishnana. That is what. So then we should have this as Krishi Shabdascha Sattartho Nascha Ananda Swarupaka Tayorekyam Param Brahma Krishna Ityam. There is a similar verse in the Mahabharata. Krishir Bhu Vachako. Bhuvachika Shabdanascha Nirvriti Vachika Tayorekyam Param Brahma Krishna Ityabhidhiyate.
Yeah.
So Krishi Shabdas. Can you try to translate this, Prabhu? Do you know this verse?
The meaning, I don't know the verse specifically, but Krishi Shabdascha Sattartho, the meaning of Krishi Shabda is Satta, or existence. Naschananda Swarupakaha, and the meaning or the nature, Swarupakaha, of Nash is Ananda, or Nash is Ananda Swarupaka. So bliss. Basically the meaning of Na is bliss, Ananda. Tayo Aikyam Param Brahma, and the oneness of the two of them, or the joining of the two of them, I guess we would say. Tayor Aikyam.
Right.
Param Brahma is Supreme Brahman. Param Brahma, the topmost transcendence. Krishna Ityabhidhiyate, and that is called Krishna. That Param Brahma is called Krishna.
Right. So very nice. So Krishi Shabdascha Sattartho. So the verbal root Krishi is denoting Satta. It is similar to the verbal root Bhu, because the first verbal root in Panini's Dhatu part is Bhu, Sattayam.
Bhu Sattayam, yeah.
So when they say Krishir Bhu Vachaka Shabda, so Krishi denotes the same meaning as Bhu, but Bhu denotes Satta. So Krishi denotes Satta or existence. So Krishi Shabdascha Satta Artho. So pervading everything, all pervasiveness is denoted by the verbal root Krishi. And Ana is the suffix added, but Ana is added for denoting Ananda or bliss. So Tayor Aikyam. So he who is the personification of all, the blissful personification of the person who is all pervasive. That Param Brahma, that Supreme Brahman, is Abhidhiyate, is denoted as Krishna Iti, as Shri Krishna. So basically, he is the personification of all bliss and all pervasiveness. That is what it is. So he is having a limited form, but he also is all pervasive. Have you seen this in the Bhagavatam? Bahumurti Ekamurtikam.
Yeah, I'm not recalling it right now.
Okay, I will. In the prayers of Akrura, in the 40th chapter, 7th verse, Bahumurti Ekamurtika. I mean, Sri Jiva Goswami takes up this phrase in the Sandarbhas that you are Bahumurti. You everywhere are your hands, legs, mouths, and everywhere you're Bahumurti. So you are all pervasive, yet you are localized in Gokula and Vrindavan and in Dwarka. So Bahumurti Ekamurtikam. And when Narad Muni also he sees in Dwarka that Krishna is getting married simultaneously to 16,000. So it is described that Narad Muni, ends up becoming flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And Jiva Goswami says, well, Narad Muni is a perfected yogi. So why should, of all people in the world, why should Narad Muni become surprised? So, because yogis are easily able to replicate their own forms. Narad Muni didn't become surprised when other yogis such as Kardam, etc. have multiplied themselves. But when Krishna, has manifested his 16,000 marriages, at that time Narad Muni was surprised. And have you gone through that section of the Sandarbhas?
No, I have not. You said this is in Krishna Sandarbha?
Bhagavat Sandarbha.
Bhagavat Sandarbha. No, I've only been through the first half of Bhagavat Sandarbha.
Okay, so please, because this is something which is very important to understand here. Bahumurti Ekamurtikam. And Narad Muni saw that there were 16,000. But Narad Muni had seen only one Krishna take birth from Vasudeva and Devaki. Yes. So the question arises, how did one become 16,000? What would be the logical answer? How did one become 16,000?
I guess the logical answer would be by expanding himself.
All right. By expanding himself. But when we use the term expansion, it means there is some original and there is someone who has expanded from the original.
Yeah. So the expansion are the original. That's the idea.
Right. So expansion has to have something different from the original. So the term for expansion is Amsha. And the personality from whom the Amsha comes out is known as Amshi. Just like Shakha means branch and Shakhi means tree. So similarly, Narad Muni saw that in all these 16,000 Krishnas, there is no Amsha Amshi Sambandha. I hope you're able to understand that, that one person is not the Amshi.
They're all Amshi,
huh? But Narad Muni had seen only one Krishna take birth from Vasudeva and Devaki. So what exactly happened? Is it that there were 16,000 Vasudevas and 16,000 Devakis? No. There's only one Vasudeva and one Devaki, but there were 16,000 Krishnas present there. So, if only one Krishna appeared, and these are not his expansions, then only one logical conclusion remains. What is the logical conclusion that remains about the remaining 15,999?
That they're all the Amshi, that Krishna is everywhere, or in all of those.
Yes.
In all of
So
those. Bahumurti Ekamurtikam.
Right.
He's one form in all of those forms.
Right. So the thing is, Narad Muni understood at that time that Krishna is all pervasive in his personal form. And which means that he simply switches on and off. It's not that, he has to take birth. He simply switches himself on and off. And as many as required, he can manifest himself. Which means in the material world, between two people, between any two people, Krishna is present. But he is present in a manner in which they cannot see him, switched off. So between you and your door, the door of the room, there is Krishna. But aprakat.
Yeah.
And Arjuna says this in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvato Panipad, that everywhere are your hands and feet. And that is the meaning of Bahumurti Ekamurtika, that Krishna is present in all directions, not in an impersonal manner, but as a personality. And personality of all sizes, all shapes. All shapes means all of his eternal shapes. And all murtis, Varaha, Vaman, Narsimha, Ram, all murtis are present in all places at all times, and they can manifest themselves at any time in any place. Then Narad Muni, he became surprised. Yes, that is the okay. So this is the pramana from Smriti. Yadva. Let's take another interpretation of Sachidananda Rupaya. Okay. Santau sarva desha kala sattakau sarvotkrishtau yau jnana anandau tau eva swarupam swakaro yasya tasmai. So what he is doing is Sat means Santau, or ever existing, or ever existing means what? Sarva Desha, in all places, Sarva Kala, in all times, Sattakau, they are existing in all times and places. And Sarvot Krishtau, and the topmost, Yau Jnana Anandau, the knowledge and bliss. Tau eva swarupam. These two are what make up his swarupa or swa akaro yasya.
Own form. Swakaro yasya tasmai.
So Sat is whose jnana and ananda, basically. This is the second interpretation. Sat means existing in all times, places, and circumstances, is whose personification, whose personality made out of Chit and Ananda.
Yeah.
So Sat is whose personality made out of Chit and Ananda unto that personality.
What exactly is Sarva Utkrishta here? Sarva Utkrishta.
Sarva
like
Utkrishta. It is describing Gyan and Ananda. So they who reign above everything else in all the universes. Sarva Utkrishta.
More than everything else. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So Sarvebhya Utkrishta. Sarvebhya Utkrishta Yau Jnanananda. Okay.
So it was Swarupam, but Swarupam means Swa Akaro Yasya Tasma. His form is made out of two substances. What are the two substances?
Jnana Ananda. Jnana and Ananda.
Okay. And the nature of this Jnana and Ananda is to be Sat. Sat means Sarva Desha Kala Sattakau, which means this form, this made out of Jnana and Ananda, is manifest in all places, all times, all circumstances. The same thing which I am saying. That Krishna is present in his personified form in all places, all times, everywhere. So basically, Krishna's akar, Krishna's form that you see, is made out of two substances, and those two substances are Jnana and Ananda. But this Jnana and Ananda is nothing but Swarup Shakti. And they are products of what? They are products of his Swarup Shakti. So Swarup Shakti has three aspects. Sandhini, which manifests the Sat aspect. Samvit, which manifests the Chit aspect. And Hladini, which manifests the Ananda aspect. So basically, his form is made out of his Swarup Shakti. The very name, what is the meaning of the term Swarup Shakti? How do we break down this samas?
I don't know.
Swarupa eva Shakti. His very form is made out of his Shakti. I hope you are able to understand. So when
Yeah.
we see, when we will be able to perceive Krishna's form, it means that what we are seeing in front of us, his flute, his ornaments, the flowers which he's wearing, his peacock feather, what are they made out of?
His Shakti.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
His limbs, what are they made out of?
His Shakti, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there in Bhagavad Sandarbha also, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So see, you and me also have a Swarup. We also have limbs. And our limbs are also made out of what?
Shakti.
Yes.
But Maya Shakti.
Yes. Our form is Maya Shakti Swarupa.
So we can say
Krishna's
Krishna is Swarupa Shakti Swarupa.
Krishna, yeah, but when we say Swarupa Shakti Swarupa, there will be Punarukti. That
Yeah.
you already said Swarupa. So it is like saying Bhavani Bharta. So like, you know.
Husband, the husband of the wife of Shiva.
So Swarup Shakti means basically she makes up his Swarupa. And this is a very important discussion in Bhagavad Sandarbha because there are the three things. Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So actually all these are actually Bhagavan only. They're not nothing different. What is Brahma? Brahma is Bhagavan
With no potency.
who is perceived without.
Yeah.
Not Bhagavan who becomes devoid, but Bhagavan who is perceived by the sadhaka. The deficiency is in the sadhaka, not in Bhagavan. So Bhagavan who is perceived without his Swarupa Shakti and his Maya Shakti, his spiritual energy and his material energy. So Bhagavan who is perceived without his spiritual and material, as soon as his spiritual energy disappears, his Swarupa disappears, because one who cannot perceive his Antaranga Shakti cannot perceive his Swarupa. So for such a sadhaka, Bhagavan manifests as Brahma. So, but let's say, so then Paramatma, Bhagavan minus Swarupa Shakti, but plus as the controller of
the Maya Shakti, yeah.
Because Paramatma's existence is primarily only in one world, that is the material world.
Yeah, he's God delineated by the idea of maintaining the world.
Yeah. So Upadrishta Anumantacha. So the overseer and the sanctioner. So there are three Paramatmas in this universe: Karanodaka Shai Vishnu, Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu, Kshirodaka Shai Vishnu. So Karanodaka Shai Vishnu is the Paramatma of the entire material creation. Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu is the Paramatma of every universe. Kshirodaka Shai Vishnu is the Paramatma of each and every atom. So there are three Paramatmas, but all of them are regulators, controllers of Maya Shakti. So when a sadhaka is able to see Bhagavan without Swarup Shakti, but only as the controller of Maya Shakti, that sadhaka is eligible for Paramatma realization. And when a sadhaka sees Bhagavan along with his Swarup Shakti and Maya Shakti, then he is able to see Satchidananda Vigraha. Because now he has accepted the existence of Swarup Shakti. And that is his eligibility to perceive Bhagavan directly. Because unless you accept Bhagavan Shakti, she will not manifest herself in your life. And when she doesn't manifest herself in your life, then you are unable to perceive Bhagavan. And then all these conceptions that Bhagavan has no form and all these conceptions become very prominent.
Yeah.
So this is the meaning of Satchidananda Rupaya, whose very form is Satchit Ananda, made out of his Antaranga Swarup Shakti. That is the meaning of Satchidananda Rupaya. Now, Karunyam Aha. It's not getting too late for you, Prabhu?
No, Prabhu. I have all the time that you want to give.
Okay. So we'll do the commentary on this verse. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Karunyam Aha. Now she has spoken about the Upanishad. She has spoken about his Swarupa. Now, in the term Satchidananda Rupaya, in the adjective Satchidananda Rupaya, she has spoken about his Swarupa. Now, Karunyam Aha. Now she is about to speak about his merciful nature in Aklishta Karine. So the term which is to be explained is Aklishta Karine. So, Aklishtan Avidya Asmita Adi Pancha Klesha Rahitan Janan Kartum Shilam Yasya Tasmai. So can you try to, Prabhu?
Yes. Unto him, O Namaha Tasmai, whose nature or character or Shila is like character is Janan Kartum, to make people Avidya Asmitadi Pancha Klesha Rahitan, devoid of the 5 kleshas beginning with Asmita or Avidya and Asmita. Klishtan. So to make them aklishta, to make them not afflicted, basically. Which means without Pancha Klesha Rahitan.
Right. So we need to know what are the 5 kleshas mentioned in the Yoga Sutras. So the 5 kleshas mentioned in the Yoga Sutras are avidya, ignorance. Second is asmita, false ego. Third is raga, material attachment.
Dvesha, next.
Dvesha.
And then abhinivesh.
Right. Material repulsion. And abhinivesh.
Material
absorption in the material conception of life. By which one wants to have survival instincts. I want to live. Even though a person knows that he's going to die. Still the person thinks, I want to live. So this is abhinivesh. So aklishtan means rahitan, to make devoid of avidya asmitadi panchaklesh. So, but janan kartum shilam yasya. So he whose intrinsic nature is to make people devoid of these 5 kleshas. So that is aklishta karine, unto that person. So I hope this is understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the next sentence he says, Keshi kamsadibhyo swa vairibhyo pi mukti pradatva shravanat. Okay. So why is, how do we say that he has a nature of removing all the kleshas? Because Shravanat, it has been heard that Mukti Pradatva, that he bestowed liberation, bestowed freedom from all sufferings on Api, even upon Swavaribhyo, upon his own enemies, such as whom? Such as Keshi Kamsa, etc. So this is the meaning of Aklishta Karine. Asya evam rupatve eva shastra tatparyam iti aha. So how do we interpret this?
Asya evam rupatve eva shastra tatparyam iti aha. So she then says, this is the conclusion, shastra tatparyam. Thus it's the conclusion of the shastra. Asya evam rupatve eva. Asya evam. So
in this exact form of him, lies the conclusion of all Shastra. In this exact form of him as Krishna lies the conclusion of, lies the essential meaning of all Shastra. This is spoken by this Upanishad by her when she says Vedanta Vedyaya. So what is the meaning? How is Vedanta Vedyaya interpreted?
Vedanta Vidyaya.
Yeah, it is interpreted as Tritiya.
Yeah.
Moksha pradatvena eva veditum arhaya na tu anyatha. So how do we interpret this?
Moksha pradatvena eva veditum arhaya na tu anyata. Arhaya. So arhaya is like fitness.
Yes.
For one
His
whom
fit.
or should be known, veditum, to be known. Moksha pradatvena eva, as the giver of moksha. And no other, not to anyata, and in no other way.
Right. So it is he who should be understood.
Yeah.
Is he who is fit to be understood as the bestower of moksha in all the Upanishads, in all the Vedantas.
There's no other way to get moksha, basically, not to anyata.
Yeah, and there is no other way of understanding him. He should not be understood in any other way. Basically, he should not be understood as the giver of fruitive results, or nobody else should be understood as the giver of moksha. Basic muktim dadati, muktim dadati iti mukumda. So it is he who bestows liberation upon those who are Vedantis. So, but when those Vedantis also attain liberation, when they understand that the conclusion of all Vedanta is in his Swarupa. Because there's no liberation unless bhakti is there. There's no liberation for anyone unless some tinge of bhakti is present. So some tinge of...
I'm wondering if anyata is also referring to Vedanta, because it seems like it's like also kind of an instrumental sense. Like he can only be known through Vedanta and through no other way, not through anyata.
Right.
So through Vedanta, he can be known as the moksha prada,
Yes.
moksha prada, and in no other way.
So yeah, so Vedantair eva Vedyaya, na tu anyatha. So it is, he is understood exclusively through Vedanta, not through anything else. Yes. But moksha pradatvenaiva veditum arhaya. So he is to be understood as the personality who bestows moksha. But not to anyatha. He is not to be understood. One meaning of, you can put a full stop here and say natu anyatha means, he is not to be understood in any other way. So you can put anyatha with arhaya and say, it's not fit to be understood in any other way. Or you can say, you can put anyatha with Vedanta, natu anyatha, both ways. Okay, very nice. But still, Vedanta Vedya basically means he who is this form of him is the conclusion to be understood by studying all Vedanta.
Yeah.
And many Vedantis such as Madhusudan Saraswati, etc., they were very much attracted to the personal form of Krishna, although they ultimately believed the impersonal Brahman to be the topmost, but they were attracted to the personal form of Krishna. So at least they reached the stage where they accepted the personal form of Krishna. That is, Vedanta Vedya. He is the one who is to be understood through all the Vedantas. Okay, now Karunya Vishesham Aha. So how do we translate this?
He then speaks the particular speciality of his karunya, or his mercifulness.
Yeah, because there are many people who are Karunamai in the universe. Like you can say all the Vedic deities are Karunamai. They are present within our bodies and they are regulating, carrying out the functions of our body. So aren't they merciful? Obviously, all of them are merciful. Even if one of them stops functioning, we'll be in big trouble. So all of them are having karunya upon us. Our hands are moving, our eyes are able to see because the Adhisthata Devatas, the presiding deities of the eye, are carrying out their functions nicely. We are breathing because we don't have an asthma attack suddenly because the presiding deities of our breathing, prana, so and they are carrying out their functions nicely. So there's so many hymns to all these deities in the Vedas because dear Christ, we are very grateful to you. You are carrying out all these functions in the universe so nicely. But although these deities have their karunya, their respective mercifulness, but there is some specific karunya about Krishna which is not present in other deities. And that is karunya visheshamaha. Now the Gopala-tāpanī, she speaks about his specific karunya which is exclusive to him. So when she says which term?
Gurave.
Gurave. On what, how does Śrīla Viśvanātha interpret Gurave as Svabhajanasya Swayam Upadeshtre? So how do we understand this?
Upadeshtre, who is Swayam Upadeshtre, who is himself the instructor, to he who is the Upadeshta of Swabhajanasya, his own worship of himself.
Right.
So he himself instructs how to worship himself.
Right. Kena rupena. In what way does he instruct a person about his own bhajan? Iti atah aha. For specifying this, the Upanishad further says, Buddhi sakshane. Buddhi sakshane equal to what?
Haryami rupaya.
Basically, Buddhi sakshane means he's in the form of the Antaryami or in the form of the Paramatma.
Yeah.
Then he elaborates and says, Mad bhaktam kam api gurum kritva. Having accepted any devotee of mine as one's guru, mam praptum mameva bhajasva. In order to attain me, you worship me only. Iti antaryami rupena swabhajane pravartakaya. So as the Paramatma, he engages the living entity in his own bhajan in this way by giving this inspiration within the heart. What inspiration does he give within the heart? Mad bhaktam kamapi gurum kritva. Having accepted any nice devotee of me as your guru, mam praptum mameva bhajasva. Worship me in order to attain me. Iti antaryami rupena swa bhajane pravartakaya. So he pravartaka, he engages one in his own bhajana. So unto that person, unto buddhi sakshane. So this big explanation has been given. Is it with praman or without praman? So obviously it should be with praman. Tatha Shri Bhagavati. That mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Where is it mentioned? 11:29:6. Acharya Chaitya Vapusha Swagatim Vyanakti. So Vyanakti, he manifests Swagatim, his path, through two bodies. Which two bodies? Chaitya and Acharya. As the Chaitya Guru within the heart and as the Acharya externally. Acharya Chaitya Vapusha Swagatim Vyanakti. He specifies himself as the destination through two via mediums. As the Acharya out externally and as the Chaitya Guru internally. Iti. Second, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mam Upayanti. You know what is the meaning of this? That those who are dedicated to me, I give them the intelligence by which they can attain me. Iti Shri Gita Uktescha. So by this utterance of the Gita, so what it means is Swaprapti Prakarasya Api Shikshakaya. So he also teaches the means of attaining his own self.
Also, so literally also by being the teacher of the means of his own attainment.
Right.
Swaprapti prakarasya api shikshakaya.
Right.
Okay.
So he is the goal to be attained, and he teaches the means by becoming the teacher. So he teaches us the Chaitya Guru and as to what path to follow in order to attain his own self. So this is not found in any other deity. Suppose you want to attain, suppose somebody is a virtue, tomorrow you become attracted to Ganesh. And you say, I want to attain Ganesh. Then in order to do that, what will you have to do?
Take shelter of someone who's worshipping Ganesh.
Right.
Some Shastra, which gives some paddhati.
Right. But then that paddhati is not made by Ganesh originally. That paddhati has come from whom?
From Krishna.
Right. Secondly, Shri Ganesh is very worshipable, but at the same time, he is not the Paramatma within your heart who will instruct you.
Yeah, he doesn't act as your Chaitya Guru.
Right. So if you have to accept Shri Ganesh as your worshipable deity, still your Chaitya Guru will remain Krishna.
Therefore, 7th chapter, he's saying like that. Actually, I'm the one who makes the faith. I establish that Shraddha for that particular deity.
Right. So this is, but his most merciful nature is that when somebody wants to attain him, he himself becomes the teacher. He himself illuminates the path. Externally as the Acharya, internally as the Chaitya Guru. And therefore, Buddhi Sakshini. Gurave Buddhi Sakshini. He is Guru, but he is that Guru who is 24 hours present with you and who forgives you for all your mistakes and still continues to be with you without being offended.
And this is Karunya Vishesha. This is very special. Mercifulness.
So,
You okay, Prabhu? You have a little cough, huh?
right. I got something from Vrindavan.
Oh, well, then it's a good thing. At least you got it from Vrindavan.
Okay, so I think we'll pause here today. This is the first commentary on the first verse. Next time we'll see that there are a few sages who go to Brahma. So some commentators will say that these are the 4 Kumaras who go to Brahma and who ask certain questions. And the reply which Brahma gives is very cryptic because the reply contains a mantra. So we will see, next time we will see what is the second paragraph and what reply Brahma gives. But is there anything else which we would like to add to this or anything which you would like to ask about what we discussed today?
Just appreciation. This was so nice going sentence by sentence and breaking it down like this. Yeah, Prabhu, I'm very excited about this. I'm lamenting that it's going to be another month before we do this again. I could do this every day. This is what I'm working towards every day. I'm just studying Sanskrit and some Shastra, but mostly Sanskrit. So I can do this and particularly associate with nice devotees like yourself who are doing this and who have some relish for it. So this is a big highlight for me. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
I'm looking.
And my sincere thanks, because it's very difficult to get a person like yourself who's already translating the commentary on the spot. So I don't have to put much of the effort.
I've been holding back on asking you to do this so that I wouldn't just say, oh, Prabhu, will you read with me? And then you're teaching me some simple vibhakti thing. So that when I ask you, then, it's been 2.5 years since I started. And I thought, let me ask him when I can ask him if we can read together, and then we can actually read together and it won't be wasting your time. So yeah, this is so nice.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we'll pause here, Prabhu, today. And this is we have done the first verse of Sri Gopala Tapani Upanishad. Once again, we will see the verse so that we are, back to where we started from. Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine. Now the verse has a completely different meaning in front of us, although we did a literal translation earlier.
Yeah.
But our literal translation now appears to be insignificant in front of the elaborate explanation given by Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur. Now every time we say Gurave Buddhi Sakshine or Aklishta Karine, or we say Satchidananda Rupaya, there is a different spota, a different explosion which will happen in our mind. And therefore this is something which will remain with us forever. This is the most amazing thing about a commentator. He explains everything and then he gets out of the way. And then you're left with the verse. And when you remember the verse again, you'll never memorize the commentary. Nobody memorizes the commentary. But you will memorize the verse. But the commentator's impressions will stay forever with you. And that is why we need to be, we should be so thankful to the commentator, because he gives such a different meaning to the entire verse. Otherwise, for me, this is Satchidananda Rupa Aklishta Kari Vedanta Vedya Gurave Buddhi Sakshi. I just do a plain vanilla translation and move ahead.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on within it. And also for his very sweet verse, Gopala-tāpanī Naumi, Śrīmad Gopala-tāpanī.
Yeah, this is very Gopala-tāpanī Naumi, Śrīmad Gopala-tāpanī. This is very sweet.
It's true. Okay, Prabhu. So we'll pause here and we'll try to organize another part of this class sometime, some other time when it is comfortable.
Yeah, if you'd like to do it sooner than a month, Prabhu, please. I'm very open. We can move very quickly as per your desire.
Yes, true. But I'll send you this entire section as text, and I'll send you the text file, and then you can also try to read about it.
Yeah,
and
certainly.
meditate upon what we have studied.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.